Do you want to talk about imposter syndrome? Are you in a workplace feeling like you shouldn't be there, feeling like you are a fraud, feeling like someone is going to find out that you, my friend, are not qualified to be in that role? If that applies to you, then you are suffering from an incurable syndrome called imposter syndrome. Don't we all just have it at this point? I came across a video by like two men I truly admire, and they were talking about imposter syndrome. And I said to myself, oh, I don't qualify to speak on this topic because I haven't achieved anything. I was like, that's crazy. That is exactly why I need to make this video, because I have achieved a lot of things, yeah, but I don't believe that they're impressive. Someone might see them and be like, oh my gosh, this is impressive. I cannot even get myself to admit that. And I feel like I don't qualify to be in rooms all the time. So I was like, what's so unique about me? I mean, you know what I mean? I honestly don't qualify to be here anyway. Why am I even talking about this? And like, that is exactly why I need to discuss it. And like, imposter syndrome is on the rise. And I want to discuss that in this video. One, I want to discuss sort of its progression, how much it's gotten, you know, much more traction in recent times, and like a lot more people are talking about it. And number two, what I think is causing it, why I think is the reason why, you know, it's such a prominent thing. I'm going to speak from my perspective. And lastly, is there anything we can do about it? Should we even try to do anything about it? Is it right? Is it wrong? Who cares? Yeah. So let's get right into it. My name is Sinatemba Veni. I am an economist. I own a master's degree. I have a master's degree in economics. But apart from that, I am a consultant at heart. I love strategy work. So I've been in corporate for a while now, and I talk about sort of my experiences in corporate. And those experiences today is going to be imposter syndrome. Yeah. So what has been going on? Why are we seeing a rise of these videos discussing imposter syndrome? And I think there are a few reasons to that. As I was watching this video, they sort of explained why this reason. By the way, this is a video by Mindful Minders with Chudu, I think. Chudu is like a former Miss SA. She was interviewing, I forgot this other lady's name, and they're talking about this imposter syndrome. And she said that right now, there has been an increase or a rise in women in corporate, in this workplace. Women are graduating in record times compared to men. There are a larger number of women becoming doctors. There are a lot more numbers of women becoming graduate. They're joining the workforce in numbers, especially Black women. And therefore, once we get into these spaces, because conventionally we feel like we're not supposed to be there, we are having this imposter syndrome and we're like, we shouldn't be here. So this rise, according to like, you know, and, you know, because now there is a rise of women in corporate, naturally, there's going to be, you know, this rise in people feeling like they're not supposed to be there. People feeling like someone did them a favor by putting them in these places, on these spaces. And therefore, this rise in imposter syndrome. Yeah. Okay. So in true women fashion, according to, you know, the data of more women entering the workplace, we feel like we don't need to be there. And I say that we don't deserve to be there, we're not qualified to be there. And I say that because there haven't been a lot of questions around men experiencing said imposter syndrome. Now, there could be a plethora of reasons because of that. There could be because men just don't, you know, chat about these things naturally, like, or they're not more vocal about, you know, or they don't have the community to express, even if they do feel like they have imposter syndrome. So the conversation is going to be centered around women. And I think I sort of agree with that point of view to a degree, but we can't really say for sure that's the reason, because like I said, men haven't come forward to express this imposter syndrome. So that's one of the reasons. I think the reason for myself is people, I think, will forever like undersell themselves or undervalue themselves. I think it's just, unless you are like very conscious and like intentional about overvaluing yourself, the first instinct would be for you to undervalue yourself. The first instinct would be for you to say, oh no, I don't deserve to be here, I need to work harder for me to earn this, etc. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing. I just think that it's something you need to be aware of and work on. You know what I mean? Like, you're not killing people, like killing cats when you're doing that, or you're not like, increasing your carbon emission, you're not destroying the planet. You are just being human. And as humans, our natural instinct is to undervalue ourselves, because then, we are protecting ourselves from the unknown. So if you undervalue yourself and you find that your actual value is higher than what you undervalued yourself as, the expectation is positive and you feel better about yourself. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that. I just think you need to be very cognizant of it. I think that there are negative things that could come with imposter syndrome, in that you will then not bring your full self or live up to your full potential, because you feel like you are living on borrowed time, or you don't need to be here, and therefore let me just hide, and let me just put myself in a corner so that no one notices that I'm here, so that no one catches me on and no one kicks me out of the room. I think that is the bad thing about imposter syndrome. But you feeling imposter syndrome, I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's a good sign. Yeah. And number two, what did I say when I talk about number two? Now, is there anything that you can necessarily do about imposter syndrome? I think that's a great question. I think the first thing that you can, I don't know if this is going to be helpful or not, but just try to remove yourself and look at the facts. Yeah? Remove your feelings. Remove Sinetemba as a human being from the equation and think to yourself, okay, what have I achieved? I've achieved objectively, A, B, C, D, E. What does this role require? This role requires C, D, E, F, G. Do I match the requirement of this role? Yes. And that's it. And then you go into that meeting with saying, you know what? I've checked the facts, and according to the facts, I belong here. I need to be here. And you'll find that after the first few minutes, you sort of even forget about, oh my God, am I supposed to be here? And the ideas are going to start flowing and whatnot. But that only happens if you acknowledge the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is that you feel like you don't deserve to be there, and you feel like you need to be elsewhere. And then you bring that into the meeting, or into the situation, or the room, or the meeting, or the conference, and that sort of fucks with your ability to perform to your optimal level. Yeah. So just acknowledge it. Yeah. And then just pay attention to what you're feeling instead of reacting to it. Yeah. So if you feel like your heart racing, if you feel like you know what I mean, you want to get out, walk outside a little bit, and you feel like you can't really contain yourself, just pay attention to that and think to yourself, okay, I'm feeling anxious. Does this have to do with anything, or is it just my imposter syndrome reacting? And acknowledge that. You just need to acknowledge the feelings so that you can be able to override them. And on the other end is you being your smart, bubbly self that they need in that space that you're in. Yeah. But the only way that you get to that space is if you sort of acknowledge the feelings. Yeah. So do acknowledge the feelings. Don't hide away from them, because that's not going to be helpful for anyone. Yeah. And lastly, the last thing that I want to say is, if you are in big spaces and you feeling like an imposter, take that as a good sign. If you are uncomfortable, take that as a good sign. Being outside of your comfort zone is going to forever be a good thing. It's going to forever be a good sign. Yeah. Being in your comfort zone is not going to be helpful for anyone, because you're comfortable, which means you're not learning anything. But if you feel like you're an imposter, you feel like you're uncomfortable, you feel like your heart is racing, you feel like all of these things are happening to you at once, it means that you're exactly where you need to be. And that is okay. Accept that. Yeah. And grow from it. Yeah. Well, that's it from me on this video. Thank you so much for staying until the end. I hope to see you on the next one.